Melody Alfonso, Dr. Campbell White, Dr. Samuel Amakwa, Dr. Daryl Aldrin, Dr. Salome Osusi Purple, Dr. Casey, Dr. Natasha Osei, Dr. Kojo Shafi, Dr. John Awabadi, and your host, Pastor Kojo Chubati, on the Hoodlyfe Series Coaching Program. Kojo Chubati. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to meet the 2019 North American Ghanaian Advanced Doctoral Class. Welcome into the show, Dr. Kofi Chubati, Abigail Yankofi, Dr. Melody Alfonso, Dr. Campbell White, Dr. Samuel Amakwa, Dr. Daryl Aldrin, Dr. Salome Osusi Purple, Dr. Casey, Dr. Natasha Osei, Dr. Kojo Shafi, Dr. John Awabadi, and your host, Pastor Kojo Chubati, on the Hoodlyfe Series Coaching Program by Kojo Chubati. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to meet the 2019 North American Ghanaian Advanced Doctoral Class. Welcome into the show, Dr. Kofi Chubati, Abigail Yankofi, Dr. Melody Alfonso, Dr. Campbell White, Dr. Samuel Amakwa, Dr. Daryl Aldrin, Dr. Salome Osusi Purple, Dr. Casey, Dr. Natasha Osei, Dr. Kojo Shafi, Dr. John Awabadi, and your host, Pastor Kojo Chubati, on the Hoodlyfe Series Coaching Program by Kojo Chubati. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to meet the 2019 North American Ghanaian Advanced Doctoral Class. Welcome into the show, Dr. Kofi Chubati, Abigail Yankofi, Dr. Melody Alfonso, Dr. Campbell White, Dr. Samuel Amakwa, Dr. Daryl Aldrin, Dr. Salome Osusi Purple, Dr. Casey, Dr. Natasha Osei, Dr. Kojo Shafi, Dr. John Awabadi, and your host, Pastor Kojo Chubati.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to officially welcome you all to the Hoodlyfe Series. This is episode 2, and we couldn't thank you all for being a part of this legendary program that we decided to put together. I mean, today I'm with my legendary host, the GOAT, the preacher, the man from Oakwood Andrews University, Refined, Pastor Kojo Chubati.
Welcome to the Hood Life, that is.
That's
life,
right.
that is.
That's right.
I'd like to welcome each and every one of you for coming and joining what I call this celebration. But it's not a celebration with Guinness and meat pie from your favorite uncle. Instead, it is a celebration where we're creating a program that communicates and creates value. So,
right.
I mean, here's the question though, at the end of the day, why are we celebrating? I said it yesterday, and I'm gonna say it again today. We're celebrating all the different individuals. We're talking about Ghanaian Adventists in North America who achieved their doctorate degrees in the year 2019. Why are we celebrating? Because Darius Daniels says it best. What gets celebrated gets repeated. I mean, that's a bar. What gets celebrated
Why you gotta do that to them on the
Well,
second
I gotta
show?
let them know that even though I got a master's, I'm on doctoral level. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Easy, man.
the whole point is that we want this to be repeated. We want this to be repeated by current people in our current generation. We want this to be repeated by future generations.
Exactly.
But Hoodlyfe is not just a celebration. Hoodlyfe is also a way to say thank you.
Right.
It's a way to say thank you to the folks, who traveled on that banana boat.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Lord have mercy, man.
And they made it to this land, and they struggled and they sacrificed so that we can make it through. So as I said yesterday, Hoodlyfe is the way to say thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. A collective way in order to say that. And last but not least, Hoodlyfe is a pun, a double entendre, so to speak. When we say you from the hood, that means that you from the struggle and the pain. But that day when you get the doctorate, they put on the hood and it represents the victory and success.
That's right.
And the two experiences are interconnected. You can't have the victory and success without the struggle and the pain. But without the struggle and the pain, you can't appreciate the victory and success. And so, in case you didn't know what Hoodlyfe was about, this is what it is. And we got all these different individuals who graduated with their doctors. Each night, we're going to be interviewing 2 of them. And yesterday, we started by introducing, who did we talk to yesterday, man?
So, man, yesterday we had Dr. Amankwat, who's all the way from Toronto, Canada. North. I was actually there recently in August, and then we also had Dr. Samuel. Man, it's all different now. You got to call them doctor.
You got to put a
doctor. You got to put some respect on their name, man. Please. Birdman's right. And we had Dr. Samuel Quatin, who also came and blessed the show, man, the pharmacist he is. And, I was telling people yesterday, man, myself and Sam, we actually went to the same elementary school and middle school for a little bit, man. We both went to Sylvester and we both went to Barron Middle School. So it's just crazy how it comes in full circle. But we just had an honest conversation with them and they were able to tell us their stories, man, and no diplomatic answers that they gave. They gave their raw story of how they made it to where they are. And they really gave a whole bunch of secrets. And I think that's the key thing about this show, man. This show is not really to gloat or glorify. I mean, we are here to honor, celebrate their milestone, but we're also using this show for you all to learn about the secrets to success. Because I always say this, man, I'm a real big proponent that you can always learn from others, man. That's really the gift of life, man. You can really learn from others. And I say with this show, this is the first of its kind. That's why I call this a legendary show. This is the show that you can utilize to take back the secrets that you've learned from these people and apply it in your life. Because I always say in life, man, there's never an end to learning, unlearning, and relearning. So before we even introduce who we have tonight, I want to make sure those who are tuned in, make sure you go ahead and share that link. So we are streaming both on Facebook and on YouTube as well. So go ahead and share that link, man. We want to make sure that you all get a taste of what we have here. So all you have to do is click that share button.
Sharing right now. That's why I got my eyes down.
And,
right now.
And make sure that you post it with your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones, your boos, your baby mamas. We going all in. Make sure you share that
Second
link.
thing we want you to do is drop your name in the link and let us know that you are listening. Let us know that you are here. We want to be able to connect with you. Let's shout out some people who tuned in yesterday.
For sure.
Pastor Samuel and Jay who tuned in.
That's right.
I had some friends in Barron Springs, Michigan who tuned in. They really want me to say their names, and so they did not say it.
Why they shy, man?
Why they shy? I'm trying to understand. We also had, who else we have? We had some friends in New Mexico.
New Mexico.
New Mexico that tuned in. Y'all didn't know I had friends in New Mexico. Got new friends in New Mexico that tuned in.
Yeah.
My mama tuned in. Mama, shout out.
For sure.
And so we had a lot of people tune in. So if you're here today, just drop it in the link that you're around. We want to be able to hear from you.
Exactly. And like we always say, man, we also have a couple of goodies that we're doing with the show.
Let's do that.
So we want to make sure that you all get a taste of it. So right now, actually, we're giving you, so one thing we really did, man, I want to make sure that this show is legendary, man. I want to make sure it's one of a kind. So what we did is that with the doctors, we have authored a book called Hoodlyfe. So just like what we've titled the series, it's called Hoodlyfe. This is the book that Kajo and I put together featuring the class of 2019, man. And it's really momentous because this is the biggest Ghanaian class. First generation, really. This is the biggest Ghanaian class ever. Second generation, sorry, man. I'm all mixed up today, man. But second generation of Ghanaians, and it's beautiful, wonderful. So we put this book together. So what you can actually do is that right below the link or right below this video, you will see a link where all you have to do is just click on it, put your name, and you will have volume 2 delivered to you. This is completely free. I mean, this book should cost $100 because it has all the secrets. But it's completely free. So go ahead, fill out that link, and then you'll be able to get your book delivered to you.
So pretty much the way the format for this program is going to go is just like how it went yesterday. We only got an hour on the track. We only got an hour on the video.
That's right.
And how we're going to use it really well. We're going to have our guests come out. We're going to ask them some questions. We're just going to have a good conversation. After that, we're going to open up the line so that you all can also call it. It's so funny. Yesterday, they're like, Coach, I wish you asked these questions. I'm like, that's why you can call in, right?
Right.
You can call in, and the phone number for calling in is 347-791-1406, right? So 347-791-1406. Another thing that we forgot to mention is that if you want, we have volume 2 of the book coming out today. So if you want volume 2 of Top 25, put your email in the description below. Put it in the Facebook comment or the YouTube comments. Put your email there, and we'll be able to get you volume 2. If you don't get volume 2 today, you cannot get volume 2 tomorrow. And those who didn't get volume 1 yesterday can't get volume 1 anymore. And so you have to be able, if you want volume 2, which are going to feature Natasha's, Dr. Natasha. Oh, shoot, I said the names already. I messed up. It's going to feature some people.
Come on, man. You're going to give out the
I messed it up. But who's going to feature the 2 people who are in today? Exactly. And then you would be able to also get that as well. So drop that in there. I think it's time for some introductions, huh?
It's time for introductions.
You know, I MC wedding receptions. And so I always look at the crowd and say, it's time for the grand introductions. And so let's begin the grand introductions. Our first guest, I call her a beauty queen from the Berrien Springs. She's a hard worker and she has an amazing soul. She finished her bachelor's in nursing in 2011, but ever ambitious, she decided not to stop there. In the year 2019, she finally completed her DNP. In case you don't know what that stands for, it stands for Doctor of Nursing Practice. Get it correct. This Doctor of Nursing Practice did not just graduate with her DNP, but on that same day, this Doctor of Nursing Practice also received her MRS. She was blessed. Know what that means. She was blessed with that marriage. Y'all know what time it is. Please, let's welcome to the show, Dr. Natasha E. Osei.
Hey, drum roll wherever you are. Drum roll wherever you are.
Man, Tasha, how you doing?
How you doing, Tasha?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're just feeling good. Tasha, I actually, found out that your name is Evelyn.
I didn't know that. I saw that in the email, so I'm like,
let me tell you how I found it out. I was in the library at Andrews University,
right?
And some girl came to me and said, "Coach, do you know a girl called Tony?" She said, "Do you know a girl called Evelyn?" I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, I do not know that girl. Don't mention that name ever again." I said, "Do not mention that ever again." Then they said, "Evelyn, you know Evelyn." I said, "Ma'am, if you mention that name ever again, I'll kick you out of the premises." Then she said, "I think y'all call her Tasha." I said, gotta be kidding me. So is that a thing with the Ghanaians? You say Natasha, and then with the Americans, you say Evelyn? Right. I ain't trying to expose any immigration stuff. You need to clarify the record. You know what I'm saying?
No, you know what's funny though? So I actually found out that Evelyn was my first name around middle school, early high school. Everybody always calls me Natasha. So I always thought it was Natasha Evelyn Osei. Come to find out, it's actually Evelyn Natasha Osei. Wow. Yeah, so it was actually through a teacher I found out that Evelyn is my first official name.
That's crazy.
So like family and friends always call me Natasha, but like a professional setting is Evelyn. So my work people is always Evelyn.
Wow. Okay. All right. I didn't know that. That's why the Hoodlyfe is here. How do you feel? You're on the show today. You get to share your story. How you feeling?
I'm excited. It's been a journey, so it's good to share.
Well, we're going to be exploring that journey, but before we do so, we have another guest that we also want to bring on as well. Yes. This illustrious person refers to herself affectionately as Lawyer Bae. That's what she affects herself.
Lawyer Bae. Slow it down, man. Slow it down, man.
You see, at first, the title was aspirational.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but now the title is actual.
When she graduated, I feel you, man.
In 2016, she began her matriculation at law school. She'll tell us the Pacific Way Joy. She comes online. Sure. And in this year, 2019, she graduated with her JD. In case you want to know what that means, doesn't stand for Jermaine Dupree. It stands for Juris Doctor. And as if that wasn't enough, just a few weeks ago, she passed her bar exam. Yes, wherever you are, clap it up, pop them Adventist champagne bottles, because she has passed her bar exam. And so, yes, what do you need? You need some immigration help. You need some personal injury help. You need someone to defend you in the court. This is the woman to help you. Please, bring her out. We welcome to the Hoodlyfe, Dr. Abigail Nyantechi.
Yeah. Drum roll, wherever you are, drum roll. Welcome you to the show.
Man.
Hello.
Hi, Abby.
Hello. Hi, Natasha.
How you doing, Doc?
I'm well. How are you guys?
Well, I mean, how do we look? I mean, I think we're doing good.
Survivor.
You think?
Happy Monday. That means something to me now.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. I mean, Dr. Nyantechi, Doctor. You just passed the bar exam. I mean, how did you celebrate? Let us know. I mean, if you drank some alcohol, that's okay. This is something like
First of all,
sorry. The kids are watching. The kids are watching.
Martinelli's only, first of all. But I had a good time. I had some friends in town this weekend because I found out last Tuesday, and we watched TV actually.
Okay. Well, that's how you celebrate the adult way sometimes.
Right?
How did you celebrate back to school, Dr.
Man, I didn't really celebrate back in school, man.
Oh, boy.
You know what was the best celebration I had in law school? I'm gonna tell you this, man. It was my birthday. This was my first year of law school, 1L year, man. And those are code names for law school. 2L, 3L. But when you're 1L, man, it's kind of scary.
Right.
So my birthday, my law friends took me out, man. This is first time. I was in it's a Mexican restaurant. I hate Mexican food. No shame to the Mexicans out there.
Any girl who wanted to take him out on a date, now you know that.
Man, but the celebration, check this out, man. In law school was the first time I ever got pied in the face.
Oh,
wow. That's not.
I mean, that's good though.
That's a terrible celebration.
Yeah, but it's still a celebration. So that's pretty good. I celebrated with apple pie and ice cream. Is that too tame for you, Dr. Nyantechi?
That's perfect. Apple pie, an episode of Martin, some Martinelli's.
Yeah,
that's the Adventist champagne, if y'all don't know.
Well, we want to get started. I had some people who said that, Coach and Kofi, we don't want to hear about you. We're going to get started with some conversation. And Tasha, I want to kind of talk to you first. And I want to start off with you. I mean, girl, you're a DNP. Yeah, has that sunk in? You're a DNP. And as you answer that question, if that has sunk in, my first question to you is kind of like, first of all, what does it even mean to be a DNP, doctor of nurse practitioner? I mean, are you guys just glorified nurses that make more money than other nurses? Or are you guys underrated doctors that don't make enough money? Yes.
So a DNP is a nurse practitioner with your doctorate. We have our own patient load. So we assess patients, we treat, and we prescribe. So it's like you have your own patient that you take care of. And you can also open your own practice if you decide to.
Okay. So how does that make that different from an RN, an LPN, or a BSN?
So, like an RN, right. So with like a DNP, you actually have your own patient that you foresee their whole care. So as a nurse, for example, when I did labor and delivery, I would have a doctor over me who will prescribe the medications and the orders. So basically, as a nurse practitioner, you are doing the orders.
Okay, and so you kind of have more authority, you kind of have more leeway, you kind of have final word over certain things.
Right, you're like a primary care provider. You are a primary care provider, yeah.
Like a doctor, or no? You don't want to disrespect the doctors that way.
Stop it, you won't get into that. But NPs are definitely more passionate, and I think because of the nursing background, it makes them more relatable to patients. That's just my. The doctors will disagree, but the MDs will disagree. But yeah.
Well, we have some MDs on the show coming on later, so make that. So, Doctor will say, talk to me a little bit about, you received your BSN, in 2011, and I think you all make pretty much good money. When I was back at Oakland University, they used to encourage all the pastors to either marry nurses or teachers. And they get to move around.
It's always nice, man.
Yeah, that's what they said. And so, you could have just easily said, I'm cool with BSN and I'm going to, pretty much be able to support my family and stuff. Right. My question to you is pretty much, what made you feel not satisfied, a little dissatisfied with this and said, I want to kind of level up a little?
I guess for me with that, different factors played into it. So when I started off as a nurse, I was a night shift nurse, and that definitely takes a toll on your body, just doing night shift. So that was definitely a factor that played into it. Another was I wanted to find ways that I can actually make that impact, especially in Ghana. I've always wanted to go back and to help out. So I felt like if I was able to further my education and become more of like a provider, if I go to Ghana or when I go to Ghana, I feel like I'll be more beneficial in regards to like teaching, even just diabetes teaching, just find ways to improve the health, especially in Ghana. So that was my two main factors that kind of pushed me to go.
Okay, wonderful. So you hated the night shifts. Let's get that clear. Okay, it looks like you like your sleep. And then and second, I really love it. You had the servant's heart, and especially your heart is back in Africa. And so pretty much those two values really propelled you to the next level.
Yeah.
Wow, tremendous. So my question to you is kind of like, what's the route that you took? Was it pretty much straightforward? Was it pretty much simple? You get your BSN, then you go straight to DNP, or is there a lot of twists and turns in between? Anthony Brown sings a song where it says life is filled with winding turns. Is there a lot of winding turns, or is there kind of like, you just do your bachelor's, write a master's, do DNP? What is that like?
So, and that's a very good question. I feel like if you have a path, it can be straightforward. Like if you have somebody to mentor you through it, it can be straightforward. But if not, and you're trying to figure out your way, something that you could have taken a short time to do will take you much longer. With that said, initially when I did nursing, I wasn't looking into DNP. But once I decided that I wanted to do it, I'd actually worked as a labor and delivery nurse for a few years. So I did my bachelor's 4 years and then decided to go back and do the DNP, which took me a little over 3 years. It was almost 4 years for me to do it. So it was the 4 years of the bachelor's and let's say 4 years of doing the DNP.
So you didn't have to do any intermediaries. You didn't have to get a master's or anything of that nature?
No, you don't have to. And that's another thing too. Some people go the route of just doing their master's. For example, and that's 2 years. So they'll do their master's. And once they take their boards and are working for a while, they'll decide to go back and do their doctorate because the DNP is a terminal degree. So you can go that route of doing your master's first and then working for a little bit and going ahead and doing your doctorate, or you can just go straight from your bachelor's to your doctorate. There's some schools that will allow you to do that. Not all schools will let you, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a very helpful clarification, especially for someone who's trying to go through that route. So
right.
In a sense, I don't want to do no masters. I can just go straight for the jugular. Or, I want to kind of level up a little bit. I don't want to go all the way for the doctor. At least I can go for the master's. So that's a very helpful clarification over there. One thing I like from your story is that, you weren't originally planning to do the DNP. Right. But once you got into the nursing thing, it led you there. And it kind of reminds me of something that T.D. Jakes said. He said, just start something because what happens is that when you do one thing, it could be the thing that leads you to the thing that you were really supposed to do. You see what I'm saying?
Dropping bombs.
So that's a really good thing I like from that story.
But let me ask this, Tasha, and before we kind of go into your background, things of that nature, a lot of people will stop with the bachelor's, or a lot of people will stop with the master's. But why did you go on and get that DNP? The truth is that some people just want to have the title doctor, but it sounds like your mission was greater than that. So why did you get that DNP before we open it up to like your background and things of that nature?
Mm-hmm. And when we go into my background, I'm gonna hit on that topic that you said. Why did I pursue my doctorate? I'll hit there too. But for me, I felt like if I'm gonna do it, let me just go all the way and be done. For example, when I did my bachelor's, I didn't do my associates first. I just went straight into my bachelor's and just did that. And for me, I feel like number one is less pressure off me to just go ahead and knock the 4 years out the way and be done instead of stopping and then going, because then it's like you have to be motivated again to say, I'm going to continue. But if I'm in it and I know that there's no other way, I have to finish it. I have no choice. I'm not going to quit. So, and my main reason, to do the doctor was I want to make an impact. I definitely want to make an impact. And I definitely could do it as a nurse practitioner with my master's, but doing my doctorate is a terminal degree. Then I don't have to go back. I feel like I'm done. I'm done with school for now.
No, I like that. And you'll be coming on our mission trip real soon.
Oh yeah, sign me up.
Let's switch the doctor again, Techi, at this moment. To give you some airtime. She's looking like, hey, I'm ready to talk. So, Dr. Abby, you're a lawyer. You know what I'm saying?
That's our field.
That's his field right there. And I have one in the family. And so I resonate. And so talk to us a little bit. What is being a lawyer all about? Because I remember I had an argument with my barber in New York City, And he was like, nah, dog. He's a Jamaican. He was like, nah, dog. All Jamaican. He says, all lawyers are liars, man. He said, they're liars, man. He said, all they do is that they fix up the story, man. Is you fixing up stories or what? What is a lawyer all about?
Well, no, all lawyers are not liars any more than all doctors are liars or all pharmacists are liars. In fact, I had to take a very rigorous ethics test that I'm sure Kofi had to take too in order to be able to graduate and get a job. So I think people get confused with being a fierce advocate for your clients being a liar. And it's just, people don't know how to use facts the way that lawyers are trained to do. So it kind of seems like it's lying, but it's not. I promise you it is not.
Repeat that.
I can get disbarred for lying, so it's not. And being a lawyer is a little different. I think when people think of lawyers, they think of litigators. And litigators are the lawyers who you see going to court, whether they're criminal litigators, the prosecutor, you have the defense. You also have like civil litigators who go to court, they write memos, they, argue their case. And that's one type of lawyer, your immigration lawyers and stuff like that. I actually practiced transactional law. I'm a corporate attorney, which means that my clients are institutions and banks. So like JP Morgan or Wells Fargo or insurance companies and things. So I help them I practice finance. Corporate law. So I help them when they're trying to finance a transaction. So I'm in an office staring at computer screens pretty much all day with documents.
It's amazing because when people think of a lawyer, that's not what you imagine.
Right.
You're imagining Johnny Cochran in the room saying if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. That's what you're.
Yep.
So when you say that, are you kind of like that person who drafts all the different contracts and make sure that all the legal are correct, or is there a little more to that?
Yeah, so I'm definitely drafting documents, contracts, all types of things, but also I'm a negotiator. So the litigators kind of like are, they argue back and forth. I am a peacemaker. I negotiate. I know JP Morgan wants this and this bank wants that. And so how do we get this deal done? I'm like a deal maker.
Wow, that's amazing. So you gotta have some negotiation skills. So, take us a little bit through your journey in terms of, if I want to become, a lawyer, like in every right that you are, what are the steps for me? Do I, just, do any type of degree in undergrad and then I just come to law school, or do I have to make sure I do pre-law, then I come to law school? So kind of walk me through those steps in case my son wants to be a lawyer one day. Hopefully he becomes a pastor. That's fine.
Okay, I think the path.
You can have your own son.
Hopefully he follows my foot. The legal profession is the best, but I'm gonna let Abby go.
Thank you. I'm right with my brother there. I think the legal profession is very flexible. So it's one of the professions where you can do anything and become a lawyer. So we had doctors, we had nurses we had people who had whole lives and came to law school. You don't need a specific major. You didn't have to do anything specific in undergrad. And I can't even, after going through law school, imagine what major you would have done to prepare you for law school. It's not really, if you do something a little reading intensive, at least you'll be like good at reading because we read a lot. But even that doesn't necessarily prepare you. So really any major, you need a 4-year degree. Will bring you to law school. Law school is 3 years, but you can also do part-time, which depending on the school can be 4 to 5 years. There's also an LLM, which is a master's in law that you can do. I don't really know what those people do, but that's available as well.
Now, Dr. Kofi, I remember when I first talked to you in law school, right? You told me that you walked into that room,
man.
And the professor just looked at you and said, tell me case 65 for 860. I'm basically making something up. And it just threw you off, the Socratic method. So maybe you can say a little bit something about that. Then, of course, Dr. Niantenchi, I want to throw that out to you. What is law school actually like? How intense is it? What kind of mindset do you have?
And, before Abigail talks about that, just to shed some light on what the Socratic method is. So the Socratic method is really an old school method, and I call it law school hazing. That's pretty much what it's all about, man. And it's really to test your mental game. And once you go through the Socratic method, and hopefully Abigail can share her experience with that, man. It's almost like the professor's putting you on the spot, and you got to deliver, but you don't deliver most of the time, man. And when you don't deliver, your head is all down. You're like, man, I can't do law school. And I'll say my quick experience. the first day of law school, because for me, law school, my process happened so late, man. Even getting into it, I missed orientation week and all of that. So the first day I got to law school, I didn't have none of my books. You know what I'm saying? None of my books.
True African.
And I was thinking, man, it's syllabus day. Undergrad syllabus day, man. All we're going to do is go through the syllabus. I'll tell you this, man. The professor, this is my contract professor, and I think the case was Lucy versus Zimmer. Or, the popular, you know what I'm saying? He said, and there was a girl sitting right next to me, and I was sitting right next by the girl, and she was like, ma'am, tell me about Lucy versus Zimmer. My heart, my pressure started going up. I'm like, man, I don't got my books. I was sitting right next to her. But you know what? Because my name is African and Twumasi is not easy, I knew you was not going to call on me that day, man.
God save. Tell
us about yours.
Oh, yeah. I think that the Socratic method is probably, I used to go to class every day, like, Lord, thank you for my last name being Nantachi, because I know they're not about to call me. But it's so difficult because even what he just said, tell me about Lucy and Zimmer, that's an easy question because they're asking for facts. When those people start asking you, tell me what type of review, and you don't know the Latin word de novo, and you don't know how to explain what that means, bro.
How did you prepare for that? Give us some hope. Give us some encouragement. How did you prepare for that?
So first year, it would take me about 6 hours to read a case because not only am I reading the case to understand, I have to Google what these words mean. I was just very, very well prepared, like at any point. And you're still going to get the question wrong just because you don't really know the ins and outs. But it's okay because everybody gets it wrong. There's not anybody. There are people who speak as if they know what they're talking about. But then when you realize, that first you're like, you're scared. You don't know what's going on. But when, month 2 and you're like, that don't sound right. These people who sounded so smart just sound regular. Yeah. We're all in the same boat. Even if your parents are lawyers, it's also a thing.
Because what I'm learning from you is that no matter, even if you make a mistake, at the bottom line, preparation is key because preparation facilitates the
So that's deep. Come on, man. Come on. If y'all on Twitter right now, make sure you tweet that from hashtag Hoodlyfe.
Facilitates liberation. So I like that. Tasha, I'm coming back to you now. Now we want to get into nitty-gritty. You know what I'm saying?
The juice, man. The juice, the gossip. I know everybody's going to tune in right now with the gossip.
We're not Wendy Williams. We're here to inspire hope.
Take it easy now.
I want to talk to you a little bit about your journey to the doctor because your journey to the doctor was not a smooth path and it wasn't an easy path. The truth of the matter is, at a certain point, especially in your college time, you had a baby out of wedlock. And my question to you is, once you had your baby, and I love him, by the way. Once you had your baby, what kind of mental...
Jaden asked questions.
I don't know if she wanted us to say
my bad.
Hey, come on. And my question is, what mental space were you in? Did you feel like a failure? How did you feel? And, I'm just going to keep it straightforward here. Many times in our Ghanaian Adventist community, we have the tendency to shame people and to be judgmental. And so did you feel like people also wrote you off as a failure? I told you I'm going straight for the jugular. So
I know. I don't know if we have enough time for all this. No,
you ready for the juice?
Kofi, to start it, I have to say, I just thank God for family. I'm telling you, I just thank God for family because long story short, I'm going to get into it. Long story short, what got me through 100% was family. I have to say, it was definitely a low point for sure. And my focus was like, I've disappointed my family. That was my main thing. I don't think I even had time to think about how I truly felt, but it was more like, oh my gosh, especially with my family, not that they made me feel that way at all, but just my whole mindset, like my grandparents, my mom, because the name we have, so it's like, I felt more like I have disappointed them, but through it all, as supportive as they were, oh my gosh, that's the only thing that got me through. And you definitely hear people, and I think in the Ghanaian community, of course, we all know, and as SDA, all this is shunned upon, but what we have to realize is when somebody's low, that's not when you want to make them feel even lower. That's when we should lend a helping hand, even if you just say an encouraging word, those things really, really mean a lot. But then it's like, that's the time you find or you'll hear things. And it's like, okay, I feel like I'm at my lowest, So when you add on to to how I'm feeling, it makes it worse. My whole focus was, what are people thinking? Oh my goodness, who's ever going to talk to me again? But family and friends were definitely supportive through it all. And that's definitely what got me through.
Make you feel like you wanted to just shut yourself up in a hole, you didn't want to show up? Did that make you feel as you would walk through maybe in church or with others, like, oh my God, what are they thinking right now as I have the bump forming?
It's true. There's many times where I didn't want to go to church, because the thing is, people you won't hear what they are saying, but you'll hear it through other people, or you'll see the eye. There's many times I did not want to go to church. My mom would be like, why? Are you going to church for people? And I was like, you know what, Mom, you're right. And my sisters. The funny thing is, the people that I thought that I have let down were the ones that stood up and held my hand and supported me throughout. Like, and I don't want to say I didn't expect it, but I just felt like this is such a disappointment to them. How are they going to react to this? But through it all, I don't really have words, but they were extremely supportive.
Yeah, no, and I'm thinking about the top 10 secrets to success that you gave. One of them was definitely talking about leaning on family. And I know you and we had this conversation, and to as much as you're comfortable, I would like you to share. So at a certain point, another child comes in the picture, and so now, you're looking at two children. You're looking at them both in their eyes.
It's not easy, man.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. And
I don't have kids, by the way.
I know I've seen kids, man. Kids. Anyway, and so at a certain point, you see two children. In looking at their faces, did somehow, some way, did that speak to you? Did that propel you? Did that make you say, I got to get a little bit more focused? Talk to me about it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, when I was telling, when your brother asked about what was my motivator as well, it was definitely them, definitely helping, and going back home and helping is definitely one. But my main motivator was definitely them, because I did not want them to be able to look back and say, why wasn't my life wasn't how it should have been. I didn't want them to be able to ask or need something and I wasn't able to provide for them. So for me, that was my main motivator. I want them to look at me and say, if my mom can do it, I can definitely do it. With all these obstacles, if I can do it, I expect nothing less from them, So definitely.
I'm gonna say this, man.
Hold on. Doc is putting a tear in my eye, man. Doc is put a tear in my eye. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, children want parents to be proud of that. But what I'm hearing is that he wasn't proud of you.
Absolutely.
Wow, thank you so much for that. Yeah, you want to say something, Doctor?
No, I was saying, especially having a parent that has also gone through educational battles, that's also a big motivator, man. So I think that's a really profound point right there.
So the final question I want to kind of ask you on, your challenges kind of move towards your doctorate is, what other radical steps, did you take in order to make sure that you were on the right path? And, or you can answer this question, what advice would you give to someone who feels like they're in the low point, who feels like they're there, who feels like they're not there? So pick any one of those questions to answer. I know that I asked two questions, but you choose which one.
Okay. So definitely advice. We all have obstacles. Do not let your obstacles hold you down. Use that as your stepping stone. Like, look at what you're going through, and because of that, become better. So for me, I looked at, okay, I put myself in this situation. This is not how it should have played out, but something good can come out of this, So for me, there are times I wanted to give up, but looking at them is what pushed me, it's what pushed me to do better and be better. So yes, we all make mistakes, things happen, but look on that and push forward. Don't let that be what slows you down or stop your path.
Love it, Dr. Natasha. Sure. Dr. Nantechi, Dr. Abigail, I want to talk to you now a little bit, because your path to the doctor also wasn't smooth. The truth of the matter is, you didn't even start off wanting to be a lawyer. So talk to us a little bit about that.
I definitely grew up thinking that I was going to be a neurosurgeon, whatever that means. Right, or OBGYN. I actually started off undergrad as a bio major, and then I added political science later. It wasn't until, and I didn't find my classes to be hard or anything like that, but it wasn't until I studied abroad in the UK. In the UK, I was working in Parliament with the Liberal Democrats. And I know that every time that I needed an answer to something, I had to go speak to a lawyer. And I was like, okay, why do these people always have all the answers? And I like to have answers. So when I went back, I got a little bit more involved in the political science realm and like let the science fall back a little bit. And I realized that I was more passionate about the things that I was doing there. At that point, I still didn't know necessarily that it was going to be law school that I wanted to, but that I wanted to go to, but I definitely knew that I no longer was interested in the sciences. And so I graduated a year early. And with that year, I kind of used it to explore what it is that I wanted to do. And I remembered back to my experience when I was working in Parliament, and I'm like, okay, let's try law school. So I wouldn't say that I've always wanted to be a lawyer, because people are like, oh no, y'all crack it, you used to argue all the time. I knew you wanted to be a lawyer. That's not it at all. It's just something that kind of happened through life experience.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, And what I'm listening and I'm hearing from you is that at a certain point you wanted to solve problems, and you felt that in answering questions you could be a problem solver. And did you kind of feel like going the route of being a lawyer was one of the best ways to solve problems?
Absolutely, especially in this community, there are not very many of us. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody has a question for a lawyer, they really need an answer. They don't have very many avenues. And although I don't do individual law, I'm still in a position, I'm still in a unique position to help people in my immediate community. And then of course, be an advocate for my clients as well.
I think I tell people all the time when you find it, like, ask yourself the question, and Obama said it best. We always ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? He said, that's the wrong question. The better question you have to ask is, what problem do you solve when you grow up? Because that can help you determine what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, people who hoard problems repel people, but people who solve problems attract people. And so I really like how you brought that out. But the truth of the matter is, and I know you at a personal level, so we go way back. And the truth is, I know that there were several adults in your life who actually didn't want you to go this route. I don't want to mention all the names, but there were several adults in your life who didn't want you to go this route. They actually wanted you to go that doctor route, that neurosurgeon route. How did you, in psychology, we have a word called differentiate. How did you differentiate yourself? How did you say, you know what? I feel the pressure from these meaningful adults in my life who want me to go this route, but I understand that it's not their choice, it's my choice. Take us through that journey. How did you able to say, I want to do this for me?
Oh, it was definitely a difficult journey, because the story was, like, you're smart, you can do anything that you want, which, thank God, I've been blessed. Yes, I can. But just because you can do anything doesn't mean you should. And so I was taking on the pressure, like, left and right. I know that I'm not comfortable, but like, you have adults saying one thing, then you have, the outside of the Ghanaian community, people who really don't know how it works. Well, you should just do whatever you want. Those things don't mesh well. And I realized that I was listening to literally everybody and taking everybody's opinion in and not God's. And so the moment where a very good friend of mine who's now a pastor told me to take it back and just speak to God, it was in that moment that I was able to shut out what everybody else was saying and just follow the path that was apparently set out for me.
Wow. And you know what? There's a text in Romans 12 that says, follow God's path. It's good, it's pleasing, and it's perfect. And as I see that smile on your face now and them nice couches behind you, I guess you're enjoying that life. Well, Kofi, Dr. Kofi, I don't know if you knew this, but Dr. Adus actually had, and Adus is one of her, I guess one of the other names that she goes by. We're gonna keep going by Dr. Abigail though. One of the challenges that she had in law school is that she had her apartment got broken.
Wow.
Did you know that?
Dealing with that and law school?
Talk to us about that. Matter of fact, you actually told me at a certain point, you would go to sleep and your locks weren't even fixed. Now I'm from New York City. We do not play that. We have chains on our doors. We staple and nail our doors. So, and you're in D.C., you're in Washington, murder capital, where they murder for capital. So,
Yeah, okay, that was a difficult experience, especially because it was right around finals time. And Kofi, this, but in law school, you only have a final. You don't have assignments, you don't have essays. You have one final and it's 100% of your grade. And I'd never taken one of these before. And my apartment got broken into in November and finals were starting in December. I'm from Gilbert, Arizona. I don't know how to handle myself streetwise. At that time, I had just moved to the East Coast. I know what to do, but yes, and they pried the door open and you could see inside my apartment. It was really, really a difficult time. But at that time is where community came into view. So the Washington Ghanaian SDA community was a community that was able to lean on at the time. They would come, they would bring me food, they would make sure that I was okay. And that was invaluable. So our community is what got me through.
That's crazy. That's incredible. Now, before we keep going on with both your stories and your journey to success, what we want to do is actually open up the lines to you all so that you all can also ask these questions, these professionals or doctors questions as well. So the number is, and you can see it right there on your screen, but actually use 347-791-1406. 347-791-1406. Make sure you use that number and call in. And if you're having a hard time trying to call in, just text in the chat. Just put a message in the chat, and we'll see that. And you could also send your message through there, and then we also access it to the doctors as well. But like I said, this is what we call free information that we're giving out. So if you got those questions, now is the time to do so. And for those who are also tuning in on YouTube and Facebook, definitely thank you for tuning in. So I think, Abigail, I want to ask you this question, and then we'll ask Natasha this question. Now, a lot of times, and these are just one line questions I'm just kind of throwing out there. A lot of times people go through law school or medical school or nursing school and neglect their church community. Now, you brought up an interesting point that the Washington church really helped you out. So during your time in law school, were you really messing with the church community, or was it that moment, their kindness, that drew you back into it? Like, how did that work with you in your spiritual game?
I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I was actually just telling somebody who's in medical school right now in our community. It's when you don't have that extra day, that extra Saturday to do work, you work around it, right? But the moment that you have it, it's like you can't do without it. So I was going to church pretty periodically, and there was just a test that I really needed. No, it was a paper that I really, really needed to write. And I was like, okay, let me just use this one Sabbath and just do that. I was not able to go back after that because I discovered an additional 24 hours that I had never had before, And so throughout law school, I did work on Saturday a lot. And even if I wasn't doing work, I used the word rest to sleep and listen to David Asscherick's sermons. So that path drew me further and further away from the source that I needed, especially when I was studying for the bar. So it was thinking of the community and how they came through for me and the prayers that I had been getting, or people just texting me, hey, I'm praying for you. When I was studying for the bar, that is how I went back to church. I wouldn't say that I left the church, but it just wasn't a priority anymore. But then I had to go back, turn around and go where I came from before I could complete the journey. So that's kind of my spiritual journey throughout school.
Thank you for being humble, because not willing to admit that they didn't go to church.
But especially when we broadcast this to the world.
But I think that's more of what we need. People who are feeling honest with you, and more importantly, people who are going to say, but at a certain point, they saw value in those basics, and in the sense that there's not just value in those basics, but those basics propel them forward. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's so beautiful. I want to talk a little bit about the secrets for success, right?
Okay,
we have no callers coming in.
Go ahead.
And so, Doctor,
but do call in though, 347-791-1406.
And if you want the book, the top 25, it's going to feature the top 10 secrets of success from Dr. Abigail and Dr. Tasha. Right. And so you can also get that as well. And it's going to preempt. It's going to complete. It's going to preempt another person as well. And so you can definitely get that. But I want to talk to us a little bit about the secrets of success. Dr. Kofi, one thing that Dr. Tasha put in is that one of her secrets to success is that she found ways to de-stress. And I want you to talk to us a little bit about this, Dr. Natasha. There's a big word being thrown around nowadays in the personal development niche called work-life balance, right? So pretty much, you kind of balance out everything, try to do everything. And here's my question to you. How did you do it? How did you work-life balance between taking care of kids, working? You were still working. You were still a single mother. You didn't have your MRS at that time. So, your man couldn't live with you. You're still you're still a single mother. And at the same time, you were still completing your doctorate. And I used to see you come to the library working hard. And so how did you do all of that and de-stress at the same time? Like Wonder Woman, Superwoman over here, y'all.
Honestly, it was only by the grace of God. Only by the grace of God. And Abby, you said something that I have to hit on. You said community, and that's huge. And for me, that played a huge role, even when it comes to de-stressing, because you have to take the kids somewhere to de-stress. So community also played a huge role. But when it comes to de-stressing, sometimes you feel guilty when you step away from your assignments, or because you're like, I have a test. But sometimes you have to step away to be able to gather all the thoughts and information you need. You have to allow yourself. It's almost, you have to tell yourself, it's okay for me to step away and to go to the movies or to go out with a friend, because sometimes you need like a reset button, to help calm you down. And then I feel like once you do that, you're able to learn better and able to move forward. So for example, for me, and I'm a morning person, going to the gym at like 4 a.m., I would do that. So I'll get up, go to the gym at 4 a.m. because that was my me time, And you said what?
We're still sleeping, huh?
Oh, yeah. They were. But yeah, you sometimes, if you feel guilty when you do things for yourself, but you have to. Right. You definitely have to.
I definitely think that's very important. And actually, talking about going to the gym at 4 a.m. and talking about de-stressing, you had a big weight loss journey. And how were you? I've lost 30 pounds this year, but I looked at you. And so how were you able to manage that? And everybody noticed it. Everybody who saw you noticed it. How were you able to manage that and at the same time complete your doctorate? I mean, you lost weight healthfully,
Right.
I did. I think for me, what I said to myself was, do I want to be on a diet for the rest of my life, or do I just want to focus and be on a diet for a couple months and be done? Because as far as I can look back, I'm always on a diet. So what I did was, let me just do healthy eating. So I cut a lot of carbs out. And as Ghanaians, that's one of the hardest things for us to do. So I cut carbs out, and that was my way of being able to do it.
Okay, I love it.
I love it. Well, callers or people who are tuned in, keep on calling in 347. We're about to end in 10 minutes here. 347-791-1406. Or if you got any comments that you want to drop into what they have been saying, just drop that into the feed. And let me go ahead and take a look at the feed right now. So we got about a couple of people on here. So someone said, Pastor Patience or say, okay, she's proud of us.
Okay,
so
great.
we're definitely thankful for that.
Great.
See Mr. P. Cutter. Okay, P. Cutter, man. He's also showing some love on this as well. And we see some people. We see someone say, yes, girl. We also got Mills, who's also watching in as well. So we got a couple of different people who are on that. Let me go to the YouTube feed and see what's going on there. And pretty much just drop any comments that you have and really soak the advice that
these doctors are giving in. You can actually just write a question in the comment or something.
In the comment, man, don't feel shy at all. So definitely make sure you also, the link is right there. Just go ahead and click on the link to receive that free copy of Volume 2. So I don't know if you had a question you want to go ahead and ask.
Moving over to Dr. Nyantichi, Abigail, I want to also talk to you about your secrets of success. And one of your secrets to success was contributing, contribute to your community and get a mentor. And so one thing I noticed, as a pastor is that I frequently coach people. One thing I notice in the Ghanaian community sometimes that a lot of people don't have mentors. And I kind of sit back and I say, how do you survive without a mentor? I feel like, people look at me and nowadays you're like, whoa, Cordelia, you're such a great speaker. Part of it is natural talent, but a lot of it is people guided me and instructed me and helped me. I have loads of mentors. But talk to us a little bit about that, the importance of finding a mentor, and then also talk to us about the unique way that you contributed to your community. You have a very unique way that you did it, and I want you to talk about that.
Okay, so starting off with the mentor, it's so important because you need mentors for all different types of things. So my mentors were outside of the Ghanaian community just because I couldn't really find one that I needed for what I was doing in the Ghanaian community specifically. And so I'm glad that I'm in a unique position to be a mentor for somebody now. But the mentors that I did have, specifically for law school, were amazing. I wouldn't know what test to take, how to interview, what to say in an interview, any of those things if it wasn't for those people.
How did you find your mentors?
Oh, I found it through the Black Law Association. They hooked us up with a lawyer, and I just created that relationship just because I know that I have questions, and I feel like in order to succeed, you have to pick the brain of somebody who's already done it.
And I like what you're saying. You sought out your own mentors.
Yes.
Okay, and that's the problem with a lot of people. A lot of people think that mentors should come to them, and that's not how it works. You seek out your own mentor. And here's another problem people have. They feel like when they seek out their mentor, the mentor has to do the work in mentoring them. No, you're the mentee. You want to learn. You have to take, you have to take your steps and ask the mentor, what do I need, in order to grow?
And I even say this about mentors. Sometimes a mentor can even be your classmate sometimes. It's kind of odd sometimes. But people, a lot of times, especially in law school, man, you have people who are confident, egotistical, and things of that nature. So everybody doesn't want to ask another person for advice because obviously, my intelligence might not be as high as his. So they don't want to have that, clouding or overshadowing them. But my whole thing is this, man, if you see somebody in your field, whether that's a classmate of yours or your peer, and they're killing the game, reach out to that person because you never know what connection that person could have. At the end of the day, your network is your network.
I know, I totally agree. Now, moving on to, the whole idea of contributing to your community and the unique way that you did it. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that, Dr. Minton, and how that's a secret to success?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. This actually came out of law school, and that goes back to the just start something and then you'll see. I didn't know what I wanted to do in law school until I went to Ghana. So I was born in Ghana and I came here when I was 2, and I've never been back. And in my first semester of law school, I ended up going to Ghana, and I just fell in love with Ghana. And I was like, how do I figure out how to use what I'm doing now to combine with my newfound passion? And I didn't know. I was praying about it. And second year, we have to write a paper. In order to graduate, you have to write your thesis equivalent. And I had to write it about public procurement, and public procurement is just government buying and selling different things for the well-being of their country. And for developing countries, they spend a lot of money on buying and selling just because the government has so much power. There's not a lot of wealth in individuals. So I was like, what if I wrote my paper about Ghana? And at the time I was like, no, because I want to get published. And if I write about Ghana, who cares about Ghana? What's a Ghana, whatever. And I was like, no, I'm going to write something that I'm passionate about, and the rest is in God's hands. So I ended up writing my paper. It took me a whole year. I started writing in August, and I didn't publish until 2 years later. So I wrote about sustainable public procurement in Ghana. And a little bit about that is using our resources to buy and sell in a way that is long-term minded. So I feel like as Africans, sometimes we think about the here and now, the short term. We have oil, we're gonna let the Chinese come get it so we can get this money. Why are we not investing the money for long term? That's something that we did with our gold. So I'm like, how do I take all these things and put it together and do something that I'm proud of? So I wrote a paper about sustainable public procurement in Ghana, and God being so good, they cared, they liked it, they published it. And so now the information is out there for anybody who wants to know how you can get involved in helping our country continue this upward trajectory.
Wow. And what you did in that, and people may not understand the significance, is that you used your degree in order to push us intellectually forward.
And that's something a lot of people don't do.
Mm-hmm.
How are you using the knowledge that you have? Because a lot of times people be like, once you get the doctorate, that's it.
That's it.
But my whole thing is how are you using your doctorate to change the world?
What this plays into, perfectly into my last question, and our last question for you all is, what are your plans afterwards? What are your plans now that you got the doctorate? Is that it? What's the plans afterwards? I'll go to, Dr. Natasha Osei, then I'll come to Dr. Abigail. But before you guys answer that question, Dr. Kofi, I want you to talk a little bit about the coaching program. I feel like we're getting so much value from these people right here. And low-key, I'm getting so sad that the conversation has to end in about 3 minutes. And I feel like some other people are also getting sad as well. And so if someone wants to have an ongoing conversation with them in such a way where they can benefit from it, can you talk to us a little bit about that?
For sure. So one of the things that we want to do with the Hoodlyfe series, we want to provide value. And I can't, I can't preach enough about what value has done to me, what value has done to you. So what we've done and what all the doctors that we're featuring, 11 strong of us, is that we have opened up our communication to coach you. And how the coaching session work is that you are getting 4 sessions with any of the doctors that are featured on this show. So whether you want to get a session from Abigail, Dr. Abigail, whether you want to get one from Dr. Tasha, whether you want to get some from Dr. Amankwa or Dr. Kwatin that were featured yesterday, you have the opportunity to get coached. And even if they're not in your field, there's secrets to success. What they did mentally to de-stress. All these things are available to you. Now, this program is originally about $1,000, man, $1,000. But God is so good with the network that we have, man. We are giving it out at a huge discount right now on tonight's show.
Well, that's because every doctoral person here is given a scholarship.
That's right, man. Break down what that scholarship is.
Well,
man.
you know, it's a scholarship, $100 from each and every single person. Almost each and every single person. I ain't giving them no scholarship, but you know, they getting a scholarship.
So what we've done is that for right now, as we're currently on the show, we have priced the coaching package for $50.
$49.99.
$49.99, man. Let's add the 99 on it, right? All you have to do is that there's a link right underneath, whether you're watching this on Facebook or whether you're watching this on YouTube. All you have to do is click on that link where it says coaching program. Click on it. It's really simple. And there's 2 facets you see with that. There's a Hoodlyfe community and there's also the coaching program. They're both priced really cheaply. All you have to do is put your name in it, and the invoice will be sent to you, and you will have the opportunity to be coached by these people. And let me tell you this, man, a lot of people like to hustle for free. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, consultation fees, man, people are charging for those nowadays.
Of course.
You know, my whole thing is this, man. A lot of times people ask me, how do you conquer the LSATs? How do you conquer through law school? People probably ask Tasha the same thing. How do you go through? These are proven people who have done it. Go ahead. Click on that link, man.
So very quickly, Tasha, plans afterwards. Talk to us.
So for me, I've always wanted to start an orphanage in Ghana. So that's something I'm going to live towards. And then also to open up my own practice eventually. So
We can't wait. We can't wait. Dr. Abigail, tell us plans afterwards.
I'm glad to be in the place that I'm at now because I'm in places and spaces where there are opportunities. So basically giving back the opportunities to our community at large and also continuing my work with public procurement in Ghana.
Really quickly, just mention like in a really quick flash, some of those opportunities like internship. Just mention that real quick. I know you mentioned something.
Oh, yes. There are some corporate internships, accountants, ITs, administrative assistants, HR, law, all types of different things that are out there that we don't know about because we're not in those places and spaces. So
here's the trick. You get to learn more if you sign up for the coaching program.
That's what I'm saying, man. And all these people have done internships, have networks of people that can help you out, but you can't get that information if you don't sign up.
Here's the thing.
Internships.
Paid internships. And I know they pay well. And so shout outs, you know, Dr. Natasha will say, what is some shout outs that you really want to give the people who have been with you your whole journey? This is your time, you know, shout them out. You know, in Jamaica, they'll say, big up yourself, big up yourself. So big them up, big them up.
Well, since you're giving me the spotlight, I have several.
Go ahead.
So definitely my sisters, Jessica, Lily, I have to give a shout out to them. They've been helpful. Liz, my love, that's Liz. And then to Elsie, and then Dorcas. They've all been wonderful. Oh.
You ain't gonna give a shout out to Auntie Paulina? What's up?
Oh, of course.
Hey, you know what?
And my mom.
I was randomly searching online and I saw a picture of Auntie Paulina at Oakland University.
She did go to Oakland.
She had like,
Oakland.
I didn't even recognize it. I was like, whoa, they said Paulina.
Wow, that's amazing.
Ooh. And if we're doing family, let me give a shout out to my husband too.
I'm like, come on. That's the only reason why you got that ring on that finger.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Dr. Abigail, give me a shout out as well.
My parents, you know, Gifty, Kusi, Stephanie, Michael, my siblings, the people who helped me through the journey, Barama, Kwame, moving my stuff around all the time, Junior, Kwajo, listening to me when I call you, Mills, Cynthia, my law school friends. Yeah, God is good, man.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Hey, if y'all have enjoyed the Hoodlyfe press like, click share. If you're on YouTube, hit like, click share, hit subscribe as well, so that you can continually get more of these videos. Man, Dr. Kofi, I've enjoyed my time here.
Enjoyed it, man.
Dr. Tasha, I've enjoyed my time with you.
Absolutely, same here.
I've enjoyed my time with you too, Dr. Abby, as well.
Thank you for having me.
Viewers, thank you so much for tuning in to the Hoodlyfe series. We continue tomorrow, same time, 8:00 p.m. We're going to have 2 fantabulous guests that are going to be with us. You don't want to miss their stories. If you like these ones, you're going to like them even more. And so thank you all so much for being with us. Take care and God bless.
Thank you.